Hi everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to create your very own portfolio website hosted on Microsoft Azure. So to show you an example of this website, here I have my own portfolio website which is running on a Bootstrap engine and it's completely hosted on the back end by Microsoft Azure. So essentially the way it works is on Azure you have the ability to purchase a domain, so similar to what you would do on something like GoDaddy and whatnot. So you can purchase a domain for a given period of time. And you can also create a DNS zone in there. And so once you have that in place, you can then create something called an app service plan, which is the equivalent of a server hosting a website that you can do on various websites as well. And in there, you can have multiple app services, which are individual websites that host your website. So essentially, the first thing that you want to do is go ahead and create a domain. Now, I already have a domain purchased for the demo I'm going to be doing with you, and but I'll show you how to do it regardless. So the first step would be to, again, when you're in Azure, the first thing is to create a resource group. So go ahead and create a resource group. So let me go ahead and populate the name of my resource group. You can call it whatever, and let me go ahead and click on the region we want to host the resource group. So in this case, we can select Canada Central if I can find it right there. And review and create. Click create. Now the name of the resource group can be anything, but usually you want to segregate all of your resources logically so that the naming convention follows. Okay, so we have our resource group created. So the first thing again, as I mentioned, would be to create a uh, app service domain. So we click that, and this is again, it literally goes to GoDaddy, and Microsoft just uses Azure to go ahead and provision your domain. So now you would have to pick your domain name. So let's just see random domain name.com should be available. Okay. So I mean, someone took random domain names, so we could have picked aimlessdomaining.com. You would go ahead and select the resource group you want to generate this domain name in. You have to fill in your contact information, so just personal information so that your domain can be registered. You can click privacy protection and then select on the legal terms and then go ahead and create. Now, this is a one-time fee that you have to pay for the full year. I've already purchased the domain, so it doesn't really make sense for me to purchase it again. But after you've purchased the domain and it's been registered under your Azure subscription, the next thing you want to do is you want to create a DNS zone for that domain. So what that means is, so now that you have a domain, doesn't really give you the ability to create records so you can forward traffic into it. So that's where this comes in. So in our case, I think it was aimlessdomainname.com, and then you would click on create. And essentially the end result after you go ahead and do this is going to look something like this. So here I have just a resource group created. I've already purchased the app service domain, so as you can see, there's nothing fancy going on here. Just the domain name, the time that you purchased it, and then the DNS zone. So this is where you can actually make record sets for when you want to forward traffic over. So these are the two record set that Azure provisions right out of the box. So these are the name of their DNS servers, and this is their another entry as well. So now that you have the domain, let's go ahead and create an app service plan. So in our case, let's go ahead, click app service, app service. Yep. Click on web app, click on create. Okay. So now, you want to go ahead and click the subscription that you want to deploy, click the name of the resource group, go ahead and populate the name of the website. So again, Microsoft Azure, it goes in behind the scene and it gives every single app service a name from the Azure website's domain. So in our case, we could have picked this to be anything, but it makes more sense to have it aligned with the domain that we're going to be creating. For publish, you can create code, click on code, click on .NET Core 2.2. I like to use Windows because I'm more familiar with the IIS environment, but if for whatever reason you wanted to host your website on a Linux server, you can go ahead and do that there as well. Under regions, again, we want to click Canada Central. And now, I already have an app service plan that's created. So again, as I mentioned, an app service plan is basically a server that you rent from Azure, and you can go ahead and deploy multiple websites to it. So in my case, rackiraman.com, the other site I was showing you, that's already being hosted under this app service plan, and this new website, which is Gen Z Muslim, I'm basically going to be hosting under this same app service plan. But in your case, when you're creating it for the first time, you would, let's say, click the name of an app service plan, and here you would go ahead and select the tier. So Azure is going to recommend a production tier, which is a little bit expensive in my opinion because it comes with all these features that we don't really need, like daily backups and whatnot. So what I found works best is the DevTest B1 tier, which contains, it's pretty beefy, and at the same time, it gives you the power to create a custom domain, which we've already purchased, as well as upload your own SSL cert. So we'll go ahead and click apply, but in my case, since I've already have an app service plan created, I'm just going to click that and click on review and create. Under monitoring, I'm going to make sure it is creating an application insights. It's going to be a new one in Canada Central. Click on review and create, and essentially a application insight. It gives you a lot of different metrics with regards to traffic on your site. So for example, how many HTTP requests have been failing, what's the response time, how many people have been visiting your site, just useful things like that if you want to gather analytics about your website. So now that the deployment is taking place on the Azure side, let's go back to our resource group. And I'll give you a quick walkthrough of the existing site that I have, which is rackiraman.com already. So as you can see, I've got two app services there. One's for my blog site, one's for my main portfolio site. I've got the app service plan, and I have an application insight that's being shared between the two sites. We've got the app service domain, which I purchased through Azure on December 15th. And I've got a DNS zone, and you'll see that there's quite a few DNS records that are in here. And we'll go ahead and set these up. So these Acme challenges are for the HTTPS cert that we're going to create. And then these are a couple of CNAMEs that's going to be forwarding traffic that hits rackiraman.com over to the actual Azure website. So I'll show you how to set all that up for the new deployment that we just did. So we go to genzmuslim.com, and as you can see, we've got our deployment completed. So right now, if you were to go to the app service and you clicked on the website and you visited the site, you would actually see that the app service is actually deployed, which is great. So the next step would be for us to basically go ahead and do a couple things. So there's a few things we need to do. First of all, we need to go ahead and route traffic from this website. So the front end is actually genzmuslim.com. The next thing is we need to create a secured cert so that when people hit our website, they don't get the not secured symbol on the left-hand side. And finally, we need to actually get content up on our website. So I'll go ahead and show you how to do all of that step by step. So the first thing is let's go to custom domains. And when we go to custom domains, as you can see, I've already purchased the genzmuslim.com domain. And if I click on add custom domain, let me go ahead and put the name of the domain. Now Azure is smart enough that it's going to go in and add the record for the custom domain. So I could have clicked a AE record or a CNAME. So just to switch things up, let's go ahead and create a CNAME record. The difference between these two is the A record actually takes the public IP address of the app service that's hosting this website and then creates a record on our DNS zone. Whereas if it's a CNAME, for whatever reason, if the public IP were to change, it would just forward traffic over to the website through this route as well. Doesn't really make a difference, but in our case, we can go ahead and click the A record, add custom domain. Okay, so we have a custom domain, but it's not secured, causing browser warning. So to validate that, let's actually go to genzmuslim.com right now. And as you can see, we're getting that not secured error. But if we go ahead and go to proceed, so the custom domain is being configured. Uh, but the website is not able to get the content. So that's fine. We'll go ahead and uh, we need to go ahead and secure this website now. So the next step, now that we have the custom domain created, we have to go ahead and create an SSL binding. Um, but since we don't have any certificate for this, this is where we need to go outside of Azure and actually create an SSL. So very simply, there's this website that you can go to, which is ssl4free.com, and you enter the name of your website. So in our case, it'd be genzimuslim.com, as well as www.genzimuslim.com. Create SSL for free. Manual verification DNS, and then manually verified domain. So we need to go ahead and add these TXT records with these values over in our domain. And what that's going to do is it's going to essentially let SSL for free know that we actually own the domain, and then it's going to let us generate that certificate. So very simply, refresh here, go to the DNS zone, and we need to add a TXT record. So as you can see here, this is the record that Azure went ahead and entered in when we were trying to do the custom domain. So we'll go ahead and select TXT here. Okay, and this is going to be Acme Challenge. Oops. I'll delete the rest. Okay, this is the host value. So this could be 1 second. Click that. And just FYI, if you were to select this to be 1 hour and you messed up the value, you'd have to wait another hour before this value gets refreshed. So I like to select this as 1 second so that it's easy to go in and quickly change the value if you made a mistake for some reason. The next one is going to be Acme Challenge www. And this is again because we want people that are going to our website through www to hit the same endpoint as well. So www, this is going to be a TXT record, and the host value is going to be this guy. Let's change this to second. So let's review everything. Looks good. TXT 1 second. That's the value. Click on OK. Awesome. And now if I click download, it should basically go in, make sure on the DNS that I've actually put these values in correctly, and then it's going to allow me to download my certificate. Okay. Now, while this is being done, I am going to add a CNAME record for anyone that basically visits my website, www.genzimuslim.com, to get routed over to the Azure website as well. So what I mean by that is right now, if anyone were to go to the website itself, they would be able to hit it. But if they put www, well, there's no DNS record to actually forward. So let's go ahead and do that. www, and this is going to be a CNAME record, and we can set this as seconds, and this is going to be genzimuslim.azurewebsites.net. I'm going to quickly visit this to make sure this is actually correct. Awesome. So now if I click on OK, and this is done, let's compare the values. So we've got the record, we've got the 2 default ones, we've got the 2 for our certificate, and here's a www. And as you can see, the certificate has been successfully generated. So if I go ahead and click download all, it'll go ahead and download the set of certificates over on our local desktop. And I'll show you what the files basically look like. So we've got a bundle.crt and certificate.crt and a private key. Now the thing is, this is great, but since we've set up our app service over on a Windows VM, we need to convert these certs into a PFX format, which is consumable by Azure. Really easy to do. There's a website that allows you to do it right on the screen. So if you go to this URL, decoder.link-converter, what you can do is you can basically upload your SSL cert. So in this case, it's going to be the cert file, which is the CRT, the key file, which is going to be your private key, bundle file, which is going to be your bundle, and then we can go ahead and put a password in that we need to put in when we are uploading the cert onto Azure. So convert successfully, we can go ahead and show in folder. I am going to extract all. Okay, and here's our .pfx. So I am going to put this all in here and call it genzmuslim.pfx. Let me put this somewhere more secured so that I don't forget it for reference, because you might need this in the future. Certs. Okay, now if we go over to our resource group and we go to our app service, we should be able to secure our website. So if you go to custom domain, let's select HTTPS only, so that whenever someone goes to our website, let's say they put in HTTP, it'll automatically get routed to HTTPS. Add binding, upload PFX cert. Now we're going to select the cert that we had just generated, which I had moved over here, and then you're going to add in the password that you had just put in. Okay, click on upload. Okay, custom domain, click on the cert, so it's going to be the cert that we had just created. Now I have two of them because I had already created a cert before I done this tutorial. Doesn't really make a difference. We'll go ahead and click the latest one, which I guess would be this guy right here, SNISSL. Click add binding. Awesome, and our site is now secured. Now to validate this, if I were to open up another link, incognito, genzmuslim.com. I think it might be because my browser already has this cached. Let me try a different browser. So the reason we were getting the 404 not found on the www.genzmuslim was because I didn't have the custom domain added with www here. So even though we had the record on the DNS zone, Azure wasn't basically forwarding any traffic to it. So once you go ahead and click add custom domain and click here, you'll be able to forward traffic over to www as well as without the www. So since we created our certificate with both the www and without it, we can actually go ahead and select it here, click SNL, and at that point our site will be secured as well. So next up is, now that we have the certificate generated, if we go over to deployment, so let's search deployment center right there. Now here's where you can basically go ahead and specify your source control on how you want the content from your site to get deployed. So for example, you could have all of the website content over in a OneDrive. You could have a local Git repo. You could have Bitbucket. In my case, I have a GitHub. So click on continue. Build service is fine. Click continue. Organization is this. Repository is this. Branch is master. Click continue. And while this is actually deploying, I'll show you what this looks like. So if I go to my GitHub, you'll see that I actually have um, my entire website's code in my GitHub repository. So if you click on here, you'll be able to see that I've got all the image files, the index.html, everything is here. So if you wanted, you could go ahead and just use my Bitbucket, my GitHub content for the Bootstrap. Now, if you wanted to use something and customize it on your own, you could just go to this website, bootstrapias.com, free templates. So here you can basically, there's tons of different templates that you can go ahead and download for your site, and then basically just make some edits, add in your own images, and then have it on your own Git website, or have it on a OneDrive or whatever you feel comfortable with, and then that'll go ahead and do the deployment into your Azure website. Now the deployment is complete, so if I go to firefox.com, we'll be able to see that the website actually hosts the content from my other site. Now, obviously, I'll have to go ahead and get this changed. But yeah, so this is exactly how you'd go about deploying your own portfolio website on Azure. And as you can see here, since we have the website secured via the cert that we generated, all of that content is available here. And yeah, thank you for your time and thank you for watching.